Hey everyone! Today we're talking about the Sklavinia, one of the first Slavic tribes that made a big impact during the early Middle Ages. These tribes were mentioned by ancient Byzantine writers, who described them as tough groups appearing near the borders of the Byzantine Empire. The Sklavinia, along with another group called the Antes, were seen as part of the larger Slavic family, but still unique. Over time, they became some of the main ancestors of today's South Slavic people. The Sklavinia didn't just settle down quietly. They raided and moved into new areas, especially in the Balkans. Some Byzantine writers called them barbarians, but they actually had a rich culture and way of life. The Sklavinia, the Antes, and the Wends were all connected, but they developed in their own ways. Eventually, most South Slavic tribes came under the rule of big empires like the Byzantine or Frankish empires and adopted Christianity. For a long time, the name Sklavinia was used to describe many Slavic tribes until they started using their own specific names around the 10th century. So, what were the Sklavinia like? According to Byzantine writers like Procopius and Maurice, they had some pretty interesting customs. They built their homes in places that were hard to attack, like forests, lakes, and marshes, and they made sure they had lots of ways to escape if needed. They were famous for being super welcoming to guests. They believed mistreating visitors was dishonorable and would attack anyone who broke this rule. They also didn't keep prisoners forever. Instead, after a while, they either let them go or welcomed them into their community. Farming was a big part of their lives, and they grew crops like millet. They also raised animals and lived in simple but strong communities. Maurice even said they were great at handling tough situations, and praised how loyal their married women were to their husbands. The Sklavinia cared a lot about independence, and made decisions together as a group. When it came to religion, like many other Slavic tribes, the Sklavinia practiced Slavic paganism. Their beliefs were deeply connected to nature and the world around them, which makes sense since they relied so much on their environment. The Sklavinia were also skilled warriors. They were great at fighting in forests and using guerrilla tactics. Their weapons included javelins, spears, and poison-tipped arrows, and they carried strong wooden shields. Even though they didn't usually wear body armor, they were tough fighters who knew how to use the land to their advantage. The name Sklavinia was used a lot by Byzantine writers like Procopius and Jordanes. Over time, it also came to mean Slavic groups who settled in the Byzantine Empire. And during the 7th century, the Balkans underwent significant changes, especially with the increasing presence and influence of Slavic tribes. In 602, the Avars launched a decisive attack on the Antes, marking the last historical mention of the Antes. By 615, during the reign of Emperor Heraclius, much of the Balkans was collectively referred to as Sklavinia, indicating the extent of Slavic habitation and control. Around this time, a Slavic leader named Shatsan organized an ambitious attack on Thessaloniki. Despite their determination, the Slavs failed to capture the city and sought assistance from the Avars. However, their combined forces, even in 617, could not break through Thessaloniki's defenses. Later, in 626, the Slavs allied with the Sassanids and Avars to lay siege to Constantinople. Despite their coordinated efforts, including using small boats to transport Sassanid troops across the Bosphorus, the siege ended in failure, further solidifying Constantinople's resilience. During Heraclius' reign, another significant event may have occurred: the migration of white Croats and Serbs to the region, possibly as part of a larger Slavic movement. In 657, Emperor Constans II led a successful campaign in Sklavinia, capturing numerous Slavs and relocating them to Asia Minor. Among these relocated Slavs, approximately 5,000 later joined Arab forces. Meanwhile, unrest persisted in the Balkans. A notable Slavic chieftain named Perbundos attempted to organize a siege on Thessaloniki. However, his plans were thwarted, and he was captured and executed. This act of defiance galvanized several Slavic tribes, including the Ringkinoi, Stremonitai, Sagudatai, and Drugubitai, to unite and lay siege to Thessaloniki for 2 years, between 676 and 678. Though determined, their efforts ultimately proved unsuccessful. During this tumultuous period, the First Bulgarian Empire emerged as a formidable power. In 681, following a crushing defeat by the Bulgar leader Asparuh near the Danube Delta, the Byzantine Empire was forced to acknowledge Bulgaria as an independent state. The humiliating treaty required Byzantium to cede lands north of the Balkan Mountains and agree to pay annual tribute. Historians continue to debate the dynamics between the Bulgars and the local Slavs. Some suggest a cooperative relationship, while others argue the Bulgars politically dominated the Slavs. Despite this, the Slavs retained their leaders and customs, paying tribute and supplying soldiers to the Bulgar military. Over time, the two groups collaborated to fortify and protect their shared territories. In the latter part of the 7th century, the Byzantine Empire adopted strategies to manage the growing Slavic population. Emperor Justinian II relocated approximately 30,000 Slavs from Thrace to Asia Minor to bolster the military. However, this plan backfired when many of these Slavs, under the leadership of Nebulos, defected to the Arabs during the Battle of Sebastopolis in 692, further complicating Byzantine efforts to maintain control. The 8th century brought additional challenges. Byzantine military campaigns, particularly under Emperor Constantine V in 758, displaced numerous Slavic communities. Around this time, the Bulgars effectively cut off vital communication routes, such as the Vardar Valley, isolating the Byzantines from certain Balkan regions. In 783, a massive Slavic uprising erupted, stretching from Macedonia to the Peloponnese. This rebellion was eventually subdued by Byzantine forces under the command of Starakios. Not all Slavs resisted Byzantine authority. Some, like the leader Achameros, participated in Byzantine political intrigues, while others openly opposed imperial rule. During this era, Slavic tribes spread throughout the Balkans, often integrating with local populations. In regions like Greece, Slavs merged with Greek-speaking communities, creating mixed Byzantine Slavic societies. Many Slavs embraced Orthodox Christianity, fostering cultural and religious connections with the Byzantines. This period of integration marked a turning point in the relationship between the two groups. To reclaim control, the Byzantine Empire implemented the theme system, an administrative and military structure that divided provinces into regions governed by generals. The first Balkan theme was established in Thrace around 680, followed by the Hellas theme in eastern central Greece by 695. These reforms incentivized Slavic leaders to join the imperial administration by offering land and positions within the Byzantine system. This strategy gradually brought more stability to the region. By the 9th century, the Byzantine Empire had regained substantial control over the Balkans. Emperor Nicephorus I spearheaded efforts to re-Hellenize the region. This included resettling Greeks from Asia Minor and Sicily into areas with large Slavic populations. Resistant Slavs were often relocated to distant parts of the empire, such as Anatolia, where they were conscripted into military service. In the Peloponnese, Byzantine campaigns successfully reclaimed cities like Patras and Corinth, allowing displaced Greek inhabitants to return. Byzantine laws, culture, and governance spread throughout the region, solidifying imperial authority. While most of the Balkans fell under Byzantine influence, some remote Slavic tribes, such as the Melingoi and Azeritai, maintained their autonomy in mountainous regions. These tribes, however, were exceptions to the broader trend of Byzantine reassertion. By the late 9th century, the Balkans were largely integrated into the Byzantine cultural and political sphere. The interactions between the Slavs and Byzantines, marked by warfare, alliances, and cultural exchange, shaped the region's identity and set the stage for future developments.